Hey everyone, so now that we can move our player, we can make it jump. We also have a fog. Let's start to change the background color of our game here. And I added a wheel asset that I drew, as you can see here. I also want to add that in this session. So let's try to add a background color first. You'll just have to type background color, and we're just going to add this to the config for our config here. That should not be so let's see. So we want that to be trailing comma for that object. Let's see. Now we have a background color getting rendered on our game here. And if we wanted to add some more platforms, let's just add some more platforms also. So the way to do that, one of the ways that I want to experiment on is we can try to add some platforms here, and I'm just going to reduce the scale here to 0.2, and let's have 3.320, 310. Let's just see what this will be doing for us. 300 on the horizontal axis, and let's set refresh. We now have those platform lined up, right? So if we wanted to have a number of platforms here, this is just a test. I'm still trying to figure out how to set up some tile maps that will be making this much faster. Let's have on the horizontal axis, let's just say this is going to be 310, 300, 290, 80, 270, 290, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. And let's just 190. Let's just play around with this for a while, right? Let me just do this as quickly as possible and just test out what will be getting rendered. We now have that bunch of platforms that we can small boxes of platforms that we can try to play around with, right? And let's try to also implement the wheel that we have here. So if I go here, let's have a variable declared. We'll call that wheel. And then let's start to scroll down. And we want to have a image rendered. If we try to recall, that will just be here, right? So let's try to add a wheel. And let's have this wheel. Let's call the wheel. And in here, of course, we'll also need to load the image from the assets. So let's have this wheel. Let's have this as a wheel. And we can actually do something that we also did when we tried to create a static group, right? We can try to have a dynamic group this time. So we did talk about Phaser having two types of groups, and that will be dynamic and static. So let's try to do that. Let's go to our anims crate here below this. Let's try to add a wheel. We're going to reference the variable that we've created. We're going to use that physics add that group, but this time we'll pass in an object inside of it. We'll give it a key value of the name of the asset wheel. Let's repeat this to 11, or let's just say 5 for the meantime, then we'll need to set the x and y axis, and we'll pass in an object inside of that. Let's give it some values of the following. So that's a step horizontal X. Let's give it a value of 70. And let's also have a value for us to be able to access the children. Iterate. Let's create a function with the parameter of child, and we want to have inside of that a child dot set bounds y, and we're going to do some phaser that mat that float between 0.4 0.8. Let's just double check what we currently have now. So we do have the balls, and we are repeating some of those balls, but they're not colliding yet. And we know that we did some things here for us to be able to collide. We'll need to add this collider. So let's try to copy and paste this and just replace the player with wheel. And let's see how will that look. So we have the player, we now have those wheels bouncing on top of the platform. And I'm still trying to figure out how we can try to hide the main wheel that we have here, but we do see that we now have a new set of assets that we were able to render, and we have some platforms, and we have a collision that is happening on our wheels on the platform that we have here. So perhaps that's it for this session for the meantime. Thank you for watching, and see you on our next lesson.